Ready?
Good.
All right, so we did ours on bullying, and really anti-bullying and causes and effects of bullying. Okay, so the rationale for our entire unit was purpose of this unit is to inform students on all areas of bullying that occurs and to make a committed effort to preventing it from happening in the future. The unit is aimed at 6th graders in order to provide early intervention for them. We kind of discussed on what grade we really wanted to focus on, and we thought as early as possible would be best. It's included because bullying is a major concern in today's society and is causing more negative effects that can lead to serious consequences. All right, so our course named, this would come in like a health and wellness class, and then the anti-bullying would just be a unit in that advisory. And we planned ours around 50-minute periods. And for our unit, we really took like a two-step kind of approach to it. Like, we started off by discussing like what bullying is, because if you just tell a kid don't bully, the 6th grader is not going to know what that means. He's not going to know, is that just pushing someone? Is that making fun of someone? He's not going to know what that is. So our first week was really what bullying is and different types of bullying and what would be considered bullying and not. And then the second week was really focused on like consequences and prevention.
All right, so as Mike said, week 1 was, more content-based knowledge. And day 1 was what is bullying. Day 2 is physical bullying. Day 3 was emotional bullying. Day 4, cyberbullying, and day 5 was boy versus girl bullying, like different technique and tactics used. Okay, so the objectives were for students for, again, what is bullying? That was day 1. This is just the overview of what it is. So the objective was for students to be able to find what it is and list some characteristics. And as we know, it's an overbearing person habitually and constantly badgering or intimidating a weaker person. We also listed 3 types of bullies, which were the confident bully, the anxious bully, and then the bully and the victim, and that pertains to a person who is a bully and then is also a victim of bullying. Also, we went over some characteristics in this day, so, threats, name calling, that sort of thing. And then the activity that we did were a Ready, Set, Go, Whoa worksheet, which is kind of like a KWL, if you've ever done those. It's very similar to what do you know about this topic, what do you want to learn, and then what have you learned. And we also did a role-playing activity where students were acting out a bullying situation and they had to use characteristics of it. Okay, the day 2 was physical bullying, and the objective was for students to understand the components of physical bullying. And then their activity was making a 3-window comic strip. And they needed to use one of the characteristics learned about for the comic strip. And so physical bullying, in the lesson we defined what it was, and it's someone who causes harm to another person or property. We also went over characteristics of physical bullying, which include any kind of physical contact, so pushing, shoving, hitting, spitting, choking, that sort of thing. We also went over the signs of it, which is damages to property such as clothing, your books, and then obviously physical marks on the body, bruises, cuts. And then we also went over the effects of physical bullying, which could be like changes in emotion and health, and you're very withdrawn. And then after that, we did the 3-window comic strip where students were each given a characteristic of physical bullying that they would have to draw out, and then they would switch it with another groups, and that group would have to answer a variety of questions relating to that comic strip. Emotional bullying. The objective is for students to understand the 6 types of emotional bullying, and those are rejecting, isolating, ignoring, corrupting, exploiting, and terrorizing. And for this, the activity we did for this was playing the bully game, or playing the bully card game. And basically what that was half the students would get into groups of 2, and each group would get a card with, so if they got the bully card, it would describe like a bullying act, so pushing another child. So they would have to go and act that out, and then the people with the stand-up cards, if they think that their solution on their card could help that situation, they would stand up and explain why. So that was the activity for that game. Cyberbullying, The objective is for students to understand the different types of cyberbullying and the different types of bullies that cyberbullying. And I actually have, I'm gonna pass around this book. It's called Cyber Kids, Cyberbullying, and Cyber Balance. And it's a 2010 book, and they had amazing, like a ton of information in here, like probably the most recent research done and such. So, Cyber Kids, Cyberbullying, and Cyber Balance.
Wow.
And I did some post-it notes of the main parts that you guys can take a look at if you want to pass it around. The other section of that just has a ton of resources. They even have like a test in the back and like different activities that you can do related to cyberbullying. So I just thought that book was a great resource, and so you guys can pass it around. Some of the types of bullying, or the types of people who bully are the vengeful angel, and well, there's four. It's the vengeful angel, the power hungry, the mean girls, and the inadvertent bully. And it didn't go into too much detail as to what those were, but you can basically kind of get an idea from the names itself. The vengeful bully was kind of a person who's well liked by their peers and teachers, but is really like a relentless bully, like harassing emails, anything, with the internet. The power hungry was basically a cyberbully who just wanted to do it for power reasons. The mean girls, those were like your typical bullying, so they're harassing prank phone calls, they're harassing emails. And then the inadvertent bully is a person who was an unintentional bully. They didn't really know that they were bullying someone, and they didn't mean to, but they did. And then the activity for this day was a debate on who was to blame for a girl named Megan Meyer's death, who was cyberbullied and committed suicide because of it. And basically what happened was people that lived down the street from her made up a fake MySpace, and the boy's name was Josh. And the mother was actually involved in this as well, writing things to this girl Megan about, they were playing that role of Josh, and they were writing things to Megan, and Megan's mother was aware of this, and she committed suicide after the Josh kid broke up with her on MySpace. So, we kind of, for this activity, we debate both sides, like who's to blame. Is it parents, Megan Meyer's parents, or is it the parents and the family that were actually doing the bullying? And then our last day is girls versus boy bullying, and the objective is to learn about the different tactics used in girl and boy bullying. And basically, younger boys will act out on emotion more, so they will probably be more likely to use physical bullying. Older boys, they know how to control their emotions more, so they're going to use more of verbal abuse. And girls definitely use relational bullying, which is the emotional bullying, leaving out, like purposely leaving out, ignoring, spreading rumors, and that sort of thing. And then the activity for the day was to make a class pledge to stop bullying. And basically each group would have a type of bullying that we learned about so far, and they would make a pledge as how to stop that. And then as a class, we come together and we take the main points from each of their pledges, and we write a class pledge for them to sign and try to follow.
All right, so week 2 was the effects of bullying, and then we get into prevention, and we end with consequences of bullying, and that's more like a student doing their own learning. We'll get to that. So we started off with effects of bullying on the victim. So we see, we start off the class with a student survey on bullying, just kind of like who's been bullied and stuff like that. And the kids don't put their names on it, but then we collect those and kind of go over like the results to where, students don't know who wrote what or whatever. But we kind of go over the results and just kind of show everybody like how much bullying is in their school and how much it does affect them and their classmates. Kind of as to show the people who don't think bullying is prevalent in the schools, and also to show kids that are getting bullied that they're not alone, that there are actually other kids that are being bullied, and it's not just everyone against that one single person. So then after we kind of talk about that, we'll do kind of a short paper on experiences with bullying, just kind of their own personal experiences that they'll turn in to us, and we'll go over that and not tell that to the class, obviously. And then as a class, we're just going to discuss possible effects of bullying, and that'll be kind of a teacher-led thing at first, and then it'll get into a group discussion on what it feels like to be bullied, and maybe some of the effects that maybe they have felt or someone that they know have went through. And then we're going to get into effects of bullying on the bully and the witness. We'll start off by discussing how bullying can affect the bully and anyone else, and anyone who witnesses the bullying taking place. And then again, we'll just kind of have a class discussion on who's had experiences with being a bully or witnessing someone else being bullied. And then we're going to do the similar traits activity, where all the students kind of get up and they've got a worksheet where they have to have, I think what we decided on was 3 different students. They need to know like 3 facts about the students or 3 things that they have in common with people, just to show like the class that they really do have things in common with others in the class. It's not like them by themselves or anything. And that's just kind of a team building thing to kind of try and bring the class together. And the students will be encouraged to talk to students that maybe they don't talk to every day or aren't necessarily best friends with or something. And then we're going to get into bullying prevention, and really just, we'll start off by the students brainstorming ideas of how to prevent bullying in the school and the community, and really focus on not just staying in the school, but also the community and once they leave school as well. And then the discussion on ways that students can help prevent bullying, that'll be kind of the teacher-led activity, and let them know what they can do to prevent bullying, any ideas that they didn't come up with on their own. And then we'll get into a role play activity, where the students will kind of be role playing different situations, and then the other students will pick out what was wrong with the situation and discuss ways that maybe they could have prevented that situation from happening if they were there. And our last project, kind of at the end to bring it all together, is a 2-day project. The students will actually research real tragedies that were caused by bullying and write a short paper on their findings. And then they'll do this in groups of 2 or 3, depending on what kind of class size that we have. And then the next day, they're just going to present their findings with the class and just kind of share everybody, just kind of real life situations that have taken place because of bullying. And we'll finish it up by maybe what could have been done to prevent the situations and talk about that.
And then one of the activities we decided to share with you, it's an activity called webisodes, and using this website, students would view short animated stories on bullying, and after they viewed it, they would take a quiz about it, and then later they would have time to explore the site, and then later write a 3-paragraph about like what their webisode was about, what they learned from it, and then other things that the website has to offer. So we're just gonna, and this is it. And it's a really good website. So you would just go down here and click on webisodes, and here there's about 12, I believe, different kind of situations where bullying occurs, and they're about like 3 minutes long each, I'd say. And so this is a good activity for kids to really learn about, you know, different situations and how that can be prevented. So